Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take out on the water what many consider to be the Honda Civic of the kayak fishing industry. And what I'm talking about is the Old Town Sportsman PDL series. So this is the pedal drive series of the Sportsman lineup, and it's been one of those tried and true versions of the pedal drive kayak. It's been around for a long time. It's remained virtually unchanged since it came out. The Sportsman has seen some changes from the Topwater series into the Sportsman series, but I'm going to take this out on the water. I'm going to talk about the stability. I'm going to talk about how it handles, how it maneuvers in the water, and I'll also talk about the layout. So things I like and the things I don't like about how this kayak is laid out in today's standards. And then finally, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about the warranty. So many of you know about Old Town Kayak and Canoe's warranty, but there's been some misconceptions or maybe just a little bit of confusion on what it covers, what it does not cover. I'll go over both the warranty for the hull and the pedal drive, and does it transfer from one person to the next? Does it cover everything? Does it cover just some certain things? I'll go over all that and hopefully clear up some of the confusion. So anyways, let's get this kayak out on the water and let you know what I think about the Old Town Sportsman PDL. So the Sportsman PDL series, for the sake of this video, I took out the 120 because I'm on a lake. Now the 106, the 10.5 foot version, the dimensions of the cockpit are virtually going to be exact. The only difference between these two kayaks is you get a little bit more on the nose storage and the tank well storage on the 120, which is where you're getting the extra 1.5 feet. But if I'm on a river or some skinnier water, you're going to prefer the 106 a little bit more. Out on the lake, you're going to get, with the 120, you're going to get a little bit more weight capacity, probably a little bit more stable feeling with having more surface, more boat surface on the water. But the one thing I loved about this kayak was both primary and secondary stability, which I'm a bigger fan of secondary myself. Those of you that don't know, primary stability is that initial wiggle. So that is when you stand up on it, does it feel like you're standing on flat ground, or is it going to have a lot more movement from side to side? The primary stability is very, very good on the Sportsman series, but the secondary stability is also very good. These are evident in the ridges on the side. So if you're leaning over to grab a fish, put the net in the water, anything like that, if you drop something, you can kind of lean down a little bit and feel that second set of resistance. That's your secondary stability. But anyways, on this kayak, I didn't feel unstable. I don't have the best sea legs in the world. I typically fish from a higher seating position, so I don't stand up a whole lot unless I'm just stretching out. But with this one, I had no problem standing up, so take it how you will there. But what I really, really loved about this was the fact that in a windy day, I didn't feel like I'm going to topple over. Stability is important with a fishing kayak. So not only is it important, but you also you don't want it to sacrifice the maneuverability, which is typically your balancing act on a fishing kayak. So the maneuverability of this kayak, which I'll get into my second part here, I was actually kind of surprised by this. So it's not a speed demon, which you don't expect a 12-foot and a wider fishing kayak to be extremely nimble. It was nimble enough, is the way I would like to say. It's not something, you're not going to win any races with it. But the star of the show really with the maneuverability, and this is kind of strange, is the pedal drive itself. The pedal drive was very comfortable for a taller paddler like myself or a shorter paddler. The one thing that surprised me the most about this kayak, having it out on the water, the shorter crank arms are in the pedal drive unit, and I feel like even Old Town and a lot of manufacturers don't focus enough on this. Smaller crank arms mean a much smaller rotation. It basically means you're not going to have your knees kicking out to the side. You're not going to have that far reach, so you're not going to be tiptoeing it when you're in that furthest revolution. And it makes for a more comfortable position to pedal from. I didn't feel like I had to lay backwards to pedal this around. I can do it in an upright position, which is extremely important because that allows you to fish while you're pedaling, as opposed to a lot of other manufacturers where the seat has to be laid back to give you a more comfortable way to maneuver your kayak around. You didn't have to do this with the pedal drive of the Old Town Sportsman, and I felt really comfortable. Not only does that give you comfort, but it's a very smooth operation. You're not going to be feeling like you're going, jerking around. It's just a smooth circular motion, and really, that was surprising to me. I was what I was hoping for, and I was just really, really happy to see that's how it operated. Many of us have been on pedal drives, especially with your longer or shorter legs. Us longer leg guys are having our knees hit us in the chest or swing out to the side. And when you stand up from it, your hips, your joints are killing you. And if you're shorter, you're having to tiptoe when your feet are farthest out. I didn't feel like I had to do this at all with the pedal. And at 6'5", I didn't have to scoot my seat all the way back either. So I still felt like with the seat where the position where I was in, it still had plenty of room to go back. So even if you're taller than me, or if you're shorter, there's plenty of adjustment. And I don't feel like I was throwing the kayak out of balance, having an odd weight distribution. So I really liked that part of it, but that helped with the handling. Another thing I loved about this kayak was the fact that the rudder is very easily deployed. There's no gimmicks, there's no crazy DIY looking thing. It's just a lever on your side. You flip it forward, you flip it backward, and it brings it up and down. It's very, very simple. The rudder is an adequate size in my opinion. You can put some bigger ones on there to get a little bit more maneuverability, but I felt like the stock rudder was adequate. You don't have to go out and buy a metal Boondocks style rudder to get more out of it. I felt like it did just fine. I'm out there in windy conditions, and I felt like the bigger rudder that comes on the kayak really helped. Not only did it help me from spinning out of control, but it helped keep me straight. So if you're in wind and you just want to drift sideways, you can do that. It does kind of act as a skeg, if you will, which is another thing on your rudder control. You have that little screw-in knob to where you can lock it in place. I really like that. That's one of those really small features that really does a lot in my opinion. So if you've got some wind and you just want to drift sideways, it turns that rudder into a skeg, which just is meant to hold it straight. And also if you're in open water, you want to lock it straight and don't have to constantly rudder it back and forth. You can lock it in the straight position, start pedaling, and it gives you that hands-free experience a little bit more that I feel like a lot of pedal drives are lacking. So the layout, there were some things I like. I like a little bit of an open concept for a pedal drive. Again, the pedal drive will take a little bit of room, obviously, but had a nice flat deck. If you get to where you're wanting to stand up and fish a little bit more, you can scoot the seat all the way back and open it up even more. I really like the storage compartment underneath the seat for like an extra tackle box or two. That'll hold up to about a 3,600 tackle box. The one thing that I didn't like about the layout was, for one, the Tupperware container on the front. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I get it. But catchboard storage, there was no good place for me to put a 26-inch or a 32-inch catchboard. And I know there's accessories out there that you can buy for storage, but it needs a place like that on there. This could be a really simple feature, like putting a couple of notches on the gunnels, anything like that. I feel like they can update that fairly easily without completely changing the dynamics of the Sportsman hull design. But that is something that I would like to see, because I felt myself really trying to find a good place to put it. And when it just sits on the deck, it's making a lot of noise. So even with the padding on there, it was kind of a pain in the butt for me, at least. Another thing too, the tank well, I love how large the tank well was. There was plenty of room for my Black Pack 16x16. Now, as far as layout goes for motorizing, this may not be the best option. It is doable. There are some applications out there for stern mount, even bow mount, but you're going to need to do some modifications on this. And there are kayaks that are better suited, even in the Old Town lineup, for motorizing. Think about the Autopilot or the Minn Kota series. So you do have options in Old Town's lineup and other manufacturers. If you're looking to motorize in the future, this may not be the best option for you, But if you're looking to stay strictly pedal drive, this is a great kayak. I was very happy with how it handled, the stability. It was heavy, but not too heavy, especially today's standards where kayaks are getting heavier and heavier. If you're looking to keep it simple, it's that sub $3,000 price range. This is going to run you anywhere from $26 to $27.99, depending on where you're getting it from. And a lot of places sell them, so you can find some deals on them. They've been around for a long time, so you can find them used. You can find some top waters, which are very similar to the Sportsman series. The Topwater series is kind of your big box Old Town kayak. It's the same pedal drive, pretty similar layout. The seat's a little different, but they're out there. So if you're looking to get in it on a budget, but still get a quality kayak, this might be the right kayak for you. I had no bad things to really say, except maybe for a couple of storage options that can be fixed very easily with just maybe a couple of inexpensive accessories out there. Okay, so finally, I'm going to talk about the warranty. So the warranty is something that I think gets people into looking at Old Town a little bit more than anything else. There's a lot of good kayaks out there. There's a lot of good value out there, but Old Town's warranty is usually what people say when they're talking about why they're looking at it. So Old Town does have a limited lifetime warranty on their hull. That's the plastic part of the boat. That's cracking, anything like that. Now, the warranty reads on their website that is from manufacturing defects. That's very important to know, because that just means if it's a no fault of your own, you get a crack in the hull, they're going to ship you a new hull, no questions asked typically. But not due to normal wear and tear. And there's a lot of people online, a lot of people on a lot of your Facebook groups that say, oh man, this thing's just covered no matter what. And that's not necessarily true. I'm not dogging on their warranty. It's the same exact warranty that Bonafide and Native has with that limited lifetime hull warranty. And on the pedal drive, just like Native and Bonafide, you have a 5-year limited warranty. So that, again, that covers manufacturing defects, things that are break. So if you ram it into something and it punctures a hole into the hull, you're not going to be covered under that warranty. You are going to be covered if you're just sitting on your seat and all of a sudden the post on the seat creates a crack in the hull, or if you're standing up and you get a crack on one of your scupper holes, it will cover you on that. It's a great warranty. It's just not one of those every single thing's covered. It's not a bumper to bumper warranty like you see on a new vehicle. It does have some limitations, which is why they call it limited lifetime warranty. So this has not been changed by Old Town. It's been like that the whole time. But I feel like with online chatter and comments, it kind of, like rumors, it takes a life of its own. And I just wanted to scale back the expectation a little bit on that warranty, because again, I don't want you to get into something in an investment thinking that you're covered for something that you're not. So with that being said, it is one of the better warranties in the industry, if not the best. It is a product that is very durable and reliable, so the need for a warranty is probably not as much as other things out there. You're talking about Hobie's hull cracking on the deck. You're talking about a lot of things on that. So again, a warranty is only going to be as good as the manufacturer. The manufacturing of Old Town is almost legendary. So they take a lot of pride in their processes, take a lot of pride in that warranty and the product that they put out. So anyways, guys, I hope this video has been helpful to you. I hope it's cleared up some of the cobwebs. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching these videos. We'll get some more out here in the future. But as always, we'll see you on the next one, guys.